जलसा सालाना जलसा सालाना.
Well, this is Jalsa Salana USA. My name is Adnan Burke as we continue, but of course, my heart is always in Canada, my home country, so anytime I get to talk to people in Canada or talk about Jalsa Salana Canada, I'm always very pleased. So once again, it's great to have great guests here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Starting with you, Amir Saab, just tell us, for those who are unaware of your roles here in the Jamaat in Canada, who you are, how long you've been part of the Jamaat, specifically in Canada.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you for having us. My name is Lal Khan Malik. I'm the National Amir of Canada Jamaat, and I have with me Sabi Nasir Sahib. He is the General Secretary of Canada Jamaat, and we have Dr. Muhammad Aslam Dawood Sahib. He is the Chair of Humanity First and also Naib Amir Jamaat Canada.
Perfect. So now that we're all well acquainted with each other again,
Yes.
Tell us, Canada Jalsa was just this past weekend. So
Yes.
I guess first off, what was the biggest theme of this year's Jalsa in Canada?
There was no one theme. We had various themes on the pattern we have followed every year. That we start with the belief in God, then the general principles and guidance Islam provides us, then the role model of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, then the role of the Promised Messiah Islam in giving new life to Islam, and then the blessings of Khilafat and some contemporary issues. This year we invited two guests from USA Jamaat, Imam Azhar Hanif Sahib and Dr. Fahim.
Yes.
Sahib. So it was not one theme, but the general theme which covers all the aspects of our tarbiyat and our tabligh.
I'm always interested about the content because I remember for myself and my cousins, you know, grew up in Toronto. You know, if you could make it down to USA Jalsa as well as Canada Jalsa, it was always great. It used to be in Silver Springs, but a 6-hour drive.
Yes.
So how much communication is there now that you see the USA Jalsa between the different Jalsa Salanas in terms of topics, themes, speakers? How does that develop?
I think it varies from country to country. I mean, what I found, especially in the listening to the speeches in U.S., it really encompasses what's happening in U.S. And what I found here, which is very interesting, is that all topics also relate to the contemporary issues as well. So with my children who are younger, I find that their comments also were that they were easily able to relate because all those religious topics were tied to day-to-day issues as well.
Right.
So they could understand and relate to it really well.
One thing I'll notice, having been to Jalsas for both countries, especially my Urdu was never very good. We always found the USA Jalsa was a lot more English speaking. No, I don't think they actually changed it with Jalsa in Canada, but I said it was always challenging. We were talking about Humanity First earlier. Just for those who did not see it, explain what the latest venture is with the hospital, inshallah, being built in Guatemala.
Right, so Humanity First has, as you know, that it's registered in 50 countries around the world.
Right.
And we are doing 9 different projects, which includes global health, knowledge for life, water for life, food security programs, and disaster response program. So under the global health program in Guatemala, Humanity First USA is building a hospital, which is about 28-bed hospital. And this would be a very modern facility. It's almost 70% done by now. And similarly, Humanity First Canada is building a hospital in Senegal, which is going to be a 40-bed hospital. By the grace of Allah, inshallah ta'ala, by end of this year, we expect it to be ready. So this is one of the programs where we try to provide healthcare to all the needy at zero cost or at very low cost to the people.
And once again, usa.humanityfirst.org is the website. $8 a month, the Gift of Sight program, Water for Life, disaster relief. Encourage everyone to do that. Yes. All right, Amir Saab, Hazur was able to visit in October, so it was interesting when my parents were telling me, no, Jalsa Salana in Canada is in October, and I said, oh, okay, because Ramzan and the schedule, etc. But the real blessing was, of course, the barakat that Hazur was there. What was that experience like? Because I always knew growing up in Canada, if Huzoor is coming, obviously there's a lot more people coming. Everyone from Canada is going to come, everyone from USA is going to come. How successful a visit was it for Huzoor?
Huzoor, this visit came after 4 years of waiting. All the Ahmadis in every country are waiting and wishing that Huzoor will visit that country, but we had to wait for 4 years. The more you wait, the more is your passion for the forthcoming visit.
Yeah.
So it came after 4 years, and all the members of the Jamaat were full of anticipation and passion for welcoming Huzoor. And the day we welcomed Huzoor in Peace Village and in other Jamaats has left a lasting impression in the minds. It was an expression of intense love of Khalifatul Masih in the hearts of members of the Jamaat, and particularly in the hearts of the youth, the children. And I felt that the maximum impact of Huzoor visit was on the children. They would line up for having a glimpse of Huzoor, going to the mosque and coming back from the mosque on the sides of the way Huzoor would follow. And whenever I think of the visit of Huzoor, I think of those lined up ladies with their young children who had insisted that we want to be on the way where Huzoor would go to the mosque.
Right.
This is my very deep impression that it had a deep impact on the minds of children.
Yeah, I used to always remember as a child, the question and answer sessions were always great. The fourth Khalifa at the time was answering whatever questions, because it didn't matter how silly the question might be. Yeah. It's Huzoor, he'll answer it, sometimes with humor, with charm. What was some of what Huzoor was talking about, contemporary subjects? Obviously, all of us know as Ahmadis, everyone's asking us, okay, what do you say about this terrorist attack? What does Islam say about this, Sharia law, et cetera? What was Huzoor's message about how we all should be dealing with those who are non-Ahmadis, non-Muslims, and how we portray ourselves?
I think one of the key things that so there were a couple of aspects that Huzoor that I saw made sure that were in front and center. Internally, Huzoor had a very deep desire to meet the Ahmadi families. And you may have read the diaries of Abid Khan Sahib as well. I was fortunate enough to be close by, and I personally saw the impact that those in time scale, very small time that they got to spend with their Khalifa, you could see from their faces that it wasn't just a mulaqat, it was a life-altering experience. So internally, Huzoor Anwar had this deep desire to meet those members of the Jamaat. Externally, Huzoor's message was very clear. He made sure that every opportunity he had, he made sure that the concept of absolute justice and world peace was front and center. We had the opportunity of organizing a few lectures. Huzoor Anwar, Aid Talal bin Aziz was also at one of our universities at York University. First lecture ever that we were fortunate enough to organize at a university. And Huzoor's message was very clear that look, absolute justice and peace is really what is needed in the world, and what role Ahmadis can play in that. So as Amir Sahib has said, this was the longest trip of a Khalifa in Canada. I mean, by the grace of Allah, it was 6 weeks long. And when we were there before Huzoor came, we were like, my God, 6 weeks. and I think like probably 2 weeks into it, we're like, that's not enough time. Right. We want to do so many things, and 6 weeks is not enough. And we have no idea where those 6 weeks went.
Right.
Ask anyone, and they have no clue. They were all so much in awe that they wanted more time of the Khalifa. Right. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think for members of the American Jamaat, maybe haven't seen the growth in Canada. I mean, we knew it always in Toronto, now there's the Masjid in Mississauga, but also Calgary now. There's a huge Jamaat there in Calgary and in Western Canada. What was your experience, Dr. Saab, with seeing Huzoor this time?
Oh, it was, as Sabir said, that it's a life-changing experience. Always you refresh your faith, you refresh your experience, and it's a type of cleansing also when you find out that how weak you are and how things can be improved. Huzoor has got so microscopic view on things, so it really changed. And his message, in addition to the message of peace and everything, his message was about serving humanity also. I mean, he, at the occasion of opening of the mosques, he said, the message he gave to the community was that we are going to be present in this community to serve mankind, to serve humanity. Our mosque centers are the core places that where we initiated the service to the humanity, both spiritual and in terms of helping and assisting in a humanitarian way as well. So that was the message that he gave all along in the openings of the mosque and over there. And the outside world, the outside community, really got stuck to that message, and the fear that they had internally about Muslims, that was really wiped out completely with this message.
Obviously, Hazur has talked in his khutbahs about responses to contemporary issues, but for those who have missed it or maybe haven't seen what he's been saying about khutbahs, how should we all be responding to the way in the world? It's very, of course, straightforward to say if you live your life as an Ahmadi, people will see that example. But what has Hazur said specifically that you think is important to tell people out there about what's happening in the world right now?
I would say that to be connected all the time with the Khalifa of the time is one single thing. If we stick to it, we would be having the motivation to live our lives according to the teachings of Islam, and we would be motivated to preaching the message of Islam to everyone around us. During this visit, I felt it more and more that if an Ahmadi is connected with his Khalifa, all he needs is, or she needs is, listen to him every Friday morning, what he expects from us. That would keep you focused on what we need to do as Ahmadis.
At the very least, people now are talking about Islam and talking about Muslims all the time. So I would agree. I think it's a critical time in terms of tabligh, because people are interested. They want to know, what does Sharia law mean? What does this mean? What is your response to this? So you're right. If you're tied to Khalifa and Ahmadiyyat, you should be in a great place. Great to catch up with all of you.
Okay.
Thank you.
For the time. Once again, we continue the members from the Jalsa Salana USA here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Back with more right after this.